roll up, get your newspapers here. Wargaming revealed the next season. And it's not more wrestling. But it might be just as bad. Hello, I'm RetroJules. No, there's nothing wrong with your screen. I am a little bit scared to tell you the news. Wargaming have released the unveiling of the next season. And, well, let's watch the video first, shall we? The new Hot Wheels season will run from the 22nd of September right through to the 8th of December, and these are the tanks that you can earn as part of the season. So you can earn the Trailblazer, quite like the camo pattern on that actually. You can earn the Tiger Shark. I don't dislike the camouflage on that either, in fact I've got underpants very similar to that. You can earn the Rodger Dodger. That looks like a toy car tank. Don't actually have too much of a problem with that. You can earn the Riprod. Not overly keen on the Hot Wheels emblems on the sides of these tanks, but I actually quite like the red wheels on that tank. And you can earn the Fast Track, which really looks like a Hot Wheels toy car tank. And you can earn the Boneshaker, which absolutely looks like a toy tank, which it's going to because it's Hot Wheels. So those are the 6 new tanks that you can earn as part of the Hot Wheels season. Make no mistake, we are now in an era of the game where it has changed. We have seasons. And it seems that seasons fund the game, and the seasons will change. Once upon a time, I would have kicked off a little bit about this. Let's go back to Mercenaries. Mercenaries was the first content in the game that changed the game and put it into a completely different direction. War Stories didn't. It kind of brought in a single player version of the game, tied in with a comic, and it worked. It was themed. Mercenaries, I hated it. I still do to this day. It was just, where is this game going? What are they trying to do? It didn't fit in with the game at the time. Now when we look back, we can see where this game is going. We are in WWE wrestling, which has nothing to do with this game. But it's a season, and now this is the new season. It's based on toy cars. Toy cars that used to run on plastic tracks and do loop-the-loops, and there's probably not one of us, actually, that hasn't got a fond memory of toy cars and Hot Wheels. But what's it got to do with tanking? So it's got nothing to do with tanking. So maybe now this is what the game is doing, and I'm going to turn around to you now and say, well look, maybe Wargaming need to do this to fund the game, to be able to invest in the game, to keep the game going, to keep developing the game. So I come to you with, well, do they let this game just peter out and not develop it? Or do they use these seasons to fund the game, sponsor the game, bring money in to the game to keep it developed so that you can play it? Because playing on the battlefield in these seasons is no different to playing tanks normally. The only thing is you might see a few new different tanks, reskins, out on the battlefield. I kind of predict a 50-50 split on this. I think 50% of people will actually quite like this and it'll bring a little smile to their face. And 50% of the people will be like, well, you know, Retro, Hot Wheels is toy cars for children. This game hasn't even got a children rating. It's a teen game. So teenagers don't play with toy cars. And if they do, well, you need to grow up a bit, don't you? And get yourself a radio control car instead. That's a whole new toy car. But what worries me slightly is who the game is being focused at. Wrestling. Children? Maybe? Toy cars and Hot Wheels. Children? Or is it sort of like a retro throwback to give people fond memories? With this, I'm really on the fence. Didn't like wrestling, don't like wrestling, hate the garage. Not overly bothered by this because it's just a few tanks. It's just a few new reskin tanks that you can go out and earn as part of the season. So, the big question is, what will they do to the garage? Because the thumbnail is a tank whizzing round a loop-the-loop. I would not be surprised if we get a new garage with loop-the-loop plastic tracks with possibly tanks whizzing around them. Or not, or just the plastic tracks. And I don't know if it bothers me or not. I am really glad to see the back of the wrestling ring. Absolutely can't wait for that to go. But does this mean there's going to be another new annoying garage? I didn't actually have too much of a problem with World of Tanks, wrestling, WWE content. Actually, it's the garage. Absolutely hated the garage being pushed in my face all the time, constantly, and that constant whooping and cheering and stuff. Just disliked it immensely. But that's because I don't like wrestling, and I didn't like the wrestling ring. But if I see toy tanks whizzing around plastic tracks in the garage, I don't know at the moment if that's going to make me smile slightly, or I'm going to think, what the hell? I am really on the fence with this because I don't actually mind the theme of this too much, because again, it doesn't change the gameplay, it doesn't change the game that we play. But I'm hoping it's kind of not pushed down people's throats too much. But what worries me is this is a teenage stroke adult game. It's intelligent. I've said all this before. It's strategic. There's mechanics. You've got to learn a lot. You can't just roll a tank out and go blasting because you won't last 5 minutes. Which is a little bit what my gameplay's like, even though I know different. Anyway, and this, I just don't know why they're sort of pinpointing these sort of youngstery. I don't know. I just feel as a a nearly 50-year-old adult that I'm playing this game and I kind of feel like I'm playing a kid's game now, even though the game hasn't changed. I don't really know how to summarise this video. I am really on the fence with the content, but I am slightly worried about who they are aiming this game at, and I don't want them to alienate the grown-up, mature players. It's almost like maybe they should have brought in something that was museum-based next. Bovington are sponsoring our next season, and I don't know, they could have had some special tanks from Bovington. I don't really know, I'm not a developer. But that would have made people go, oh, well, this is the game going back to its roots and its, historically based aspect. And then maybe brought Hot Wheels out further down the line and sort of, interspersed it with kiddie content, retro fun content, and mature, historically related tank content. Those are kind of my thoughts. And I understand they're a little bit iffy, but that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. What also troubles me is that I mentioned it to Mrs. Retro. She immediately turned her nose up and she said, what's that got to do with tanks? Valid point. And the second thing that troubles me is the background video that I've got playing, because that's what this inspired. And surely this game should inspire me to put tanks in the background. Unfortunately, this will be the second season that I don't sign up for. I didn't sign up for the WWE because I just wasn't interested in winning the tanks that were on offer. And I won't be signing up for this either because I'm not bothered about winning these tanks. So these seasons, for me as a player, are doing absolutely nothing for me to invest in the game. Really interested in what you think. Does this season alienate you as a player? Does this season make you smile and just think of when you were a kid and when you used to play with these cars on these plastic tracks? Do you quite like the tanks, and will you be signing up for the season to earn them? Or do you feel like you're an adult playing this game and you feel like you are now playing a kiddie game? And also, how do you feel about this seems to be the way the game is going with the seasons? And just remember, it doesn't change the battlefield. It hasn't changed the game as we play it and play it together. And how do you feel that if this is the way that the game is funded at the moment to keep everything developed? Is it something that you accept and go, well, actually, if there's a few reskin tanks and this is the season and it doesn't change the battlefield and the game is as it is and they're developing all the spotting mechanics in the background and they're tinkering with the game and trying to develop it further and it's funded like this, do you think that's acceptable? And is it acceptable enough for you to go, do you know what? That's absolutely fine because it doesn't really affect the game. I think this is going to get a lot of blood boiling. I think this is going to make a lot of people smile. I have no idea what type of comments I'm going to get down below based on this material. But I'm really looking forward to your opinions and what you think of the new up-and-coming season, which starts on the 22nd of September and runs through to the 8th of December. I'm going to go up into the attic and get my old toy cars down. Got some Matchbox cars up there somewhere. Keep safe. Keep tanking. And I'll see you soon.